Hello everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and another Linux OS review today. Today we are looking at Netrunner Rolling Release version 2015.09. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with Netrunner, it is a Linux distribution that probably the easiest way to describe it is they take every piece of software known to mankind, throw it into their distribution, try to make the thing look pretty all at the same time, and boom, there you go. Now, it's a little bit of an exaggeration on the software, but as we go through things here, you'll see that they really loaded this distribution down with lots of software, and probably for like 99% of the people out there, you're not going to need to add anything as far as software goes to this distribution. You do have the tools to add other software if need be, but like I said, I think about 99% of the people out there are going to have all of their bases covered. So let's take a look at, this is the release notes from Netrunner, talking a little bit about the release. The Netrunner team is proud to announce the release of Netrunner Rolling 2015.09, both 32 and 64-bit. And Netrunner Rolling is based on Manjaro KDE 15.09. Desktop transition from KDE 4 to Plasma 5. And let's see here, KDE applications are at 15.08 and hundreds of packages updated to their latest version. Calamares is now the default installer, and I've got to tell you, the new installer is miles ahead of what the old installer was. It's just superior in every other way. It doesn't, it's probably not perfect, but I installed this on both my desktop and my laptop. Installer works great, no glitches or freezes or anything like that. So very happy with the new installer. Let's see, where are we at? LibreOffice and VirtualBox now ship in their 5 version. Gmusic browser has been fine-tuned to load and display large music collections in an efficient and easy way. Look and feel is now a refurbished mix of Breeze and Classic Oxygen. And scrolling down here, just some quick highlights of what's been updated. Linux kernel is now at 4.1.9. Plasma is at 5.4.1. KDE Frameworks is at 5.14. KDE Applications at 15.08.1. LibreOffice 5, VirtualBox 5, Contact 5, Firefox 41.0, Thunderbird 38.3, Gmusic Browser 1.15, VLC 2.2.1, and Cheese is at 3.16. So let's take a look at our desktop here. As you can see, we've got a traditional layout with a single panel across the bottom. As far as backgrounds go, there are a fair number of different backgrounds available. You can take a look at the, you got a variety here. And then of course you could go and add your own images if you like. But like I said, they've got a fair number that are included by default. And looking at our panel, starting over on the left-hand side, we've got our menu, which you can activate either through the mouse or Windows/Super key. And they've used the more compact style KDE 5 menu. Then right next to that, we've got quick launches for both Dolphin, our file manager, and then for Firefox. Then right next to that, we've got all of our open windows. And then scrolling over here to the right hand side, we've got a quick launch for our drop down terminal, which, let me check here, which is also keyed to the F12 key. And then we've got our volume indicator, our network connections, and then our time/date. And here's one of my big criticisms for KDE. Please get the integration with Google Calendar done and taken care of, so that when we pop up this calendar, we can see all of our Google Calendar events. Because and I know there's a lot of people that use Google Calendar just as much as I do. Not having the integration on my desktop is a real pain in the butt. And actually, that is one of the main reasons that I am not using KDE 5 as my main desktop right now. Just because to me that is a almost essential piece of software or piece of information, however you want to say it. So next to our calendar, we've got our notifications. The little gear looking icon will launch our Plasma search. Let me close that up there. And then the little hamburger on the end is, of course, for making changes to our panel. So while we're on the subject of desktop appearance, let's go. I want to open up System Settings, drag that over here, and go to Desktop Appearance. And while I'm on the subject, one thing that they have changed as far as something that's different from standard KDE. Usually by default, KDE is set up so that you open everything with a single click. Well, they've changed it to double click, which is what you see in Windows and most of your GNOME-based distributions. I prefer single click, and if I was going to use this for my main desktop, I would switch it right back. I didn't change it, for the purpose of the review, just so it was the way it comes from the factory, so to speak. But just something I wanted to point out. Anyway, as far as theming goes, they are using the Breeze widget style. And if you come down to window decorations, they're also using wow, getting tongue tied here. They're also using the Breeze window decorations. Come down to icons, and they're using the oxygen icons. Personally, I don't like the Breeze theme, and I don't like the oxygen icons. So for me, the theming that they've done on this distribution or this particular release, it just doesn't work for me. However, there's probably plenty of people that really like it. On the plus side, if you don't like the theming that we've got going on, there's quite a variety that is installed by default. So you can go and change it, tweak it, do all that kind of stuff without having to go and add a whole bunch of themes and whatnot. So just kind of looking through here what they've got available. If you like what the GNOME distributions look like, this is something that is kind of similar to the Attawell right there. Let's take a look at what that looks like. I don't know. The theming, it's one of those things that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so to speak. So what one person really likes, another's going to hate. I kind of like that right there. But anyway, like I said, they've got quite a variety installed by default. So once again, you really don't have to go and install a whole bunch of themes and whatnot so that you can retheme the look. Well, let's take a look at the applications that are included with this distribution, and we'll start out with the games. And as you can see, we've got a bunch of games here. A lot of them come from the KDE side of things. So we've got Burger Space, Chess, Frozen Bubble, GL Tron, K Breakout, K Diamond, K Mahjong, K Mines, K Patient, K Snake Duel, a lot of K. All right, and you can see we've got under Steam, we've got 3 different options listed right here. We've got Steam Purge the Library, Steam the Steam Runtime, and Steam System Libraries. And essentially these bottom 2, you have the choice of running Steam with either the System Libraries, which are Arch based, or you can run it with the Steam Runtime Libraries. And probably the best way to think of these is these are the libraries have been patched with Ubuntu patches. Kind of the background behind it is that when SteamOS came around, what distribution was it based on? It was based on Ubuntu. So obviously Steam runs best on Ubuntu, at least as far as Linux distributions go. Uh, of course, I would include the Ubuntu-based distributions in that category. Anyway, so what they've done here is they've basically patched the libraries with Ubuntu patches to make it run better on Arch-based distributions. Now, I mentioned this on one of my previous Manjaro videos, and I did get a question, somebody asking, well, does Steam run as well as it does on Ubuntu? No, it does not. It runs better, and depending on what game you're running, you may not notice a difference, but Steam runs nowhere near as well as it does on Ubuntu. Now, like I said, depending on the game, it may not make a difference. On some games, it'll make a huge difference. Just as an example, I've been playing War Thunder lately, and playing that through the Steam client. When I was using, and this was on Manjaro, running the system libraries on Steam, it was unplayable. Running the Steam runtime libraries, it gave me okay performance, but it really wasn't that great, but it made it playable. On Ubuntu, it's equivalent to running on Windows, so you can kind of compare the differences. Anyway, and talking about these different categories here, so you've got the system libraries, you can use the Steam runtime libraries, and then we've got this option so you can purge libraries, which will be good if you try it one way, hey, it doesn't work out for you, you can purge the libraries and run it the other way. Moving on to graphics, we've got the GIMP, we've got Gwenview, we've got Carbon and Krita from the Calligra Office suite, we've got K-Snapshot, we've got Scanlight. Under Internet, we've got Firefox, we've got Contact, and I'll come back and talk about this in just a second. We've got Conversation for our IRC client. We've got the Marble Atlas, Q-Transmission for our BitTorrent. We've got Skype, Telepathy for instant messaging, and then Thunderbird. And Thunderbird and Contact, this is kind of one of those things that's kind of left me scratching my head. We don't have the entire KDE Personal Information Manager suite installed. Under Contact, we simply have, let me drag it over here, we've got both our contacts and we've got the KDE calendar. But we don't have Kmail and the rest of that personal information suite. But we do have Thunderbird for our email, which is fun. I mean, tons and tons of people on all kinds of platforms use Thunderbird. So I guess that was the reasoning behind adding Thunderbird and not having the rest of the contact suite, or the KDE PIM suite. But I'm not quite sure. Under Multimedia, we have Cheese for our webcam needs. I installed GUVC View for my webcam just because, one, it is what I am used to using, and then two, I think it's got more functionality than Cheese has. I also added Simple Screen Recorder for my screen recording. Once again, it's what I'm used to using. Audacious and Gmusic Browser for your music needs. Handbrake for a little DVD burning if you need to edit some videos. We've got Kdenlive. Then we got our Pulse Audio volume control and our radio tray. VLC for VLC is probably the best video player out there. It seems to handle just about any format that you can throw at it. It just simply works with everything. And then down at the bottom we go, Volkscreen was installed by default for screen recording. Coming down to Office, we've got the LibreOffice Office Suite. Under Settings, I have listed the AMD Catalyst Control Center just because I have an AMD card, and installed the proprietary drivers. You get the Catalyst Control Center, and then of course links to our system settings. Coming down to system, we've got, and this is another one of those duality things that I'm kind of scratching my head on. We've got Muon Discovery and Muon Update Manager for installing and updating our software packages, but at the same time we also have Occupy. Obviously Occupy is coming from the Manjaro team, but I'm kind of scratching my head once again. If you've got one, why do you need the other? Why the dual, the multiple tools to accomplish the same job? Anyway, moving on. We've got Dolphin for our file browser, file manager, however you want to call it. K Info Center, which will give you all kinds of information on your system right there, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. I lost my place here. Okay, anyway, we've actually, and once again, we've got two tools for a terminal. We've got both the standard KDE console, and then we've also got YakWake for which is a drop-down terminal. So under utilities, we have Arc for our archive management, K3B for disk burning, Kate, which is our text editor, KCalc, which is our calculator, Clipper, which is a clipboard manager. We've got a Kmail import wizard, which obviously isn't going to do us any good since we don't have Kmail installed. We've got Oracle Virtual Machine, and we've also got SUSE Studio Image Writer if you want to burn an ISO. And then of course we've got our power options right there. So let's talk a minute about the K Info Center. One of the things that I really like about KDE is having this information center. You've got memory uses, energy stats, devices, networks, graphical information, all this information right in one place. So very convenient, especially for me when I'm doing these reviews. Now let's talk a little bit about memory use. This thing is a bit of a memory hog. You want to have a fairly decent spec computer if you're going to run Netrunner. Looking at the stats here, see I've got 15.67 gigs of memory. Basically on my desktop here, I've got four 4-gigabyte sticks, and then free physical memory you can see is 9.10. So I mean, roughly say 6.5 gigs of RAM are being used right now. Now, part of that is I've got quite a few things running right now. Webcam, screencasting, a couple of instances of Firefox. There's a lot going on. Having said that, I do think that there are some memory leaks, because normally when I'm recording I don't see that volume of memory being used. So I'm not sure why my usage is that high, but it is. Baseline, first starting this distribution up, I found it to be 1.1 gigs, 1.2 gigs, right around there, which is still fairly heavy. So definitely you want a decent spec computer if you are going to run Netrunner. So let's talk a little bit about performance. First of all, software, the applications, they have been running great for me, and it is nice having a rolling release so that you're always on the latest release or very close to the latest release. Issues I have had though have been with Plasma. There have been quite a few crashes, more than what I had when I was testing Manjaro KDE. So what happened in going from Manjaro to Netrunner, I don't know, but I'm just experiencing a lot more crashes on my desktop than I did with Manjaro KDE, which really doesn't make any sense since it's based on Manjaro KDE, but that's been my experience. I've had issues with the video driver crashing on me. I've had issues with Plasma crashing on me. Most of them have been, it's been a crash where, say, Dolphin crashes and then instantly it's back up again. So it's not been showstopper per se, but it has been an irritation, especially when you get used to distributions where everything just works right out of the box and nothing's crashing on you. So that has been sort of the fly in the ointment as far as playing around with Netrunner. Well, that about finishes up this review. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and as always, I will try to get to comments, questions, all that kind of stuff as soon as I possibly can. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Love having another subscriber. And I hope to see you all on the next video. Thanks a lot.